This is strange. This is strange. This is strange.
Everywhere you turn, it's the same old sports talk, the same headlines, the same news, and the same boring information. This podcast is here to change all of that. We bring you hot sports takes, winning sports betting strategy and picks, reliable gaming industry news, and breaking interviews with some of the biggest names in sports business. My name is Ryan Knup, and welcome to the Knup Sports Show. Welcome to the Knup Sports Podcast, episode number 3. This is Ryan, your host, and I'm here with my co-host, Rodney. Rodney, you with me?
Yeah, what's going on this evening?
Not much. Excited to be back here. We made it through to another episode, and we're going to talk some NFL tonight. So excited to be here and excited to talk some football again.
Yeah, definitely. It should be a good week. Week 3 already of the National Football League. I'm looking forward to it. There's some pretty good games this week. I'm looking forward to them.
Yeah, absolutely. So to get us started here, first off, I want to thank everybody for listening. Our listener numbers are going up each and every week. I know we've only had 2 weeks, but we are increasing, and so please spread it to your friends. Anybody that likes sports, anybody that follows sports, they may want to listen to this. We're just going to briefly touch on each game. One other piece of housekeeping as far as this podcast goes, we've split it up into 2 podcasts. So we're going to have a NFL podcast, and then we're going to have a separate college podcast that we're going to get Tom involved with. So another part of the Knup Sports team, Tom and Rodney, are going to host that tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. Rodney, you're pretty excited to talk with him about college as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always nice to talk both, but as we saw in week 1, when you put them together, we could spend upwards of hours talking about it. So nice to split it up and clear your head a little bit before you think about some of the different sport games here.
Yeah, so if some of you aren't familiar with what we have, we're knupsports.com. That's KNUP sports.com. We're just here to talk sports, to help you guys really make money on sports. I mean, we like to talk about sports betting. We like to talk about daily fantasy. We're partnered with a ton of different companies, so if you're really looking for a place to bet or a place to play daily fantasy, get with us. Get in touch with us because we have relationships with all these companies. They give us good deals, good bonuses that we can extend out to you guys. So head out to our website, check those out, or just send us an email. Shoot us a message, and we'll get back to you right away and kind of talk to you about what maybe the best place to play for you is. We have places that we're getting free rolls and free bets and all sorts of stuff. So we can get you hooked up pretty nicely if that's something that interests you. So that was a little housekeeping, a little promo before we get started. So I think we're ready to jump into a little NFL. What do you say?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Let's jump right in here to Thursday Night Football. We have Houston at New England. You know what? I was a little shocked when this line came out. I mean, New England was +3 on Thursday Night Football at home. I know they don't have Tom Brady. I know Jimmy Garoppolo's out, and they're going to be on their third-string quarterback. But I don't know if I care. I don't know if it matters who New England. I was talking about this with somebody the other day. I don't know that it matters who they plug into quarterback. Their system, their defense, just the way they do things just seems to be there no matter who they have there. So when that line came out, I personally actually jumped on it. I took New England +3 the very first day it came out. I think since then it's moved. It's, I don't know, at 1 or 2 now. What are your thoughts on this game? Do you have any thoughts on this first Thursday night game?
Well, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, New England has shown time and time again that they are who they are, and it sounds like Julian Edelman may get an opportunity to play a little quarterback, and got me thinking a little bit about his daily fantasy value. And if he's at quarterback, is he a guy that you have to think about playing this weekend? Because not only is he going to get receiving yards, he could be getting some quarterback points. So, I mean, I think the Patriots win this game. They're at home. They've always been good at home. I seem to like the New England Patriots in this game.
Yeah, I think that's a cool thing for some of you guys playing daily fantasy to think about. Maybe play some Julian Edelman and get some receiver yards, get some quarterback yards, kind of an extra quarterback in the mix. Possibly. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, but yeah, I think he is set as their backup quarterback. So that would be interesting. They'd probably run a little wildcat with him or something.
Well, yeah, Jacoby Brissett is their starting quarterback, and he wasn't even good in college. So we'll see. But J.J. Watt, Houston's going to be coming after Brissett and all those guys. So it'll be interesting, but I still think that I like the New England Patriots to win this game. I see it around a pick 'em, and I'll take New England even if they move to -1. New England wins this game to me.
Yeah, exactly. They've won 6 out of the last 7. They seem to have their number over the last several years here. I mean, that was dating back to 2003. But they do seem to have their number. I realize they have Tom Brady in the mix in all these games. But I'm not sure that matters. So, again, I took the +3. I really like the Patriots in this one. It's one of my favorite games. But I am putting some trust in a third-string quarterback, too. So I do realize that's a bit risky. But I'm going with it. I like the Patriots.
Yeah, I think so too. And Robert Gronkowski may or may not play. And as far as daily games, I don't know if you can play. You can't play Brock Osweiler. Running Lamar Miller maybe, but New England's shown that they can play pretty good defense too. So it should be interesting what could happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a fun way to kick off the week. So after that, we jump into Sunday. We'll go ahead and go through the noon games quickly here. We got Arizona at Buffalo. Arizona is 3.5-point favorites on the road at Buffalo. That seems a bit fishy to me. I mean, that's pretty low, isn't it?
Well, it seems pretty low, but you always got to keep in mind the cross-country travel for some of these teams. I mean, Arizona is going to be playing what will essentially be, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock their time back home. So, I mean, those are things that the odds makers consider as well. Maybe not a big deal. Maybe it is. I mean, I think we're seeing after week 2 how good Arizona really can be. I mean, they just destroyed Tampa Bay, and Buffalo's not very good. They're in a bunch of turmoil. But if Buffalo's going to win a game, it's going to have to be week 3, or you're risking starting 0-3, and that's never an ingredient to be any good. So I don't mind the spread being there. I just think Arizona is just far and away the better team, and I think the Cardinals are the team you have to bet here.
I do too, and so does the world. It's 78%. That's one of the biggest consensus picks of the week for the public and the experts. I mean, it's almost 80% of the people on Arizona. Yet that line isn't moving a lot. I mean, it's sitting at 3.5, 4. I think it's at 4 now. Man, I like Arizona a lot in this game. Buffalo's just a mess. They haven't looked good at all. I don't care that they're at home. Arizona is just a much better team, in my opinion, in this game. They're just a much better team.
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo's, again, not very good. They lost 2 games already, and you're right, 78%. Now that, maybe isn't that a little bit scary? I mean, these are the type of games where Buffalo, maybe competes within a field goal and covers that spread. But, yeah, I think the smart money, you've got to go with Arizona in this one.
Yep, I think enough said on that one. I agree. Let's move on. We got Minnesota at Carolina. That's a pretty heavyweight game. We got two teams that some think could be in the Super Bowl contending teams at least. We have Minnesota at Carolina. Carolina yet is 7-point favorites at home in this game. I know. What's Minnesota going to do without AP? Are they going to have who are they starting at running back, and what can we look for out of Minnesota?
Well, I mean, Jerick McKinnon and Matt Asiata are both going to get carries, and they're both probably not great fantasy plays in daily games. I mean, if you're in a season long and you lost Adrian Peterson, maybe you could consider picking one of these guys up if you didn't have much else. I mean, I think daily games, you got to stay away from these guys because we've seen the Carolina defense is pretty good. 7-point spread, I mean, I don't know. This one's tough. I would probably lean towards Carolina because it is a backup. Well, Sam Bradford's not really a backup quarterback, but it is still Sam Bradford. It is no running game. Some of their defensive guys are still out. In Carolina, we saw Carolina could really score last week. I think Carolina wins this game something like 28-20 or something around there. It's just barely going to go over. And I like Carolina at that 7. I'll take the Panthers -7 in this one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go against you on this one. I think, but I don't know. I may just stay away from it. But getting that 7 points is huge, especially with a team that's really defensive-minded. I mean, Minnesota's defensive-minded. They like playing low-scoring games. They've given up 14 and 16 in week 1 and week 2. I know Carolina's a they're not more high-powered than Green Bay, but they're a high-powered offense, and they're at home. So you have to expect they're going to give up a little bit more, but now with AP out, Minnesota really has to lean on that defense even more. And so I don't know. I like taking the 7 in that one. I may just stay away from it, but I would lean taking the points.
Yeah, I mean, one thing about Carolina is with Kelvin Benjamin back, they've been much better offensively, especially last week against Tampa Bay. I know that looking at the rosters, Green Bay probably does have a better offense, but Green Bay struggled now for quite a while, even in the last year. I'd like to see how good that Green Bay team is going to be before we really start thinking that Viking win was very good. So I think Carolina is still pretty mad about week one loss. I think Carolina comes out and wins this game, and I'll take the -7.
Okay. Moving on, still a noon Central, 1 o'clock Eastern game. We have Denver at Cincinnati, another pretty big-time game. Cincinnati comes in home, 3-point favorites at home in this one. Denver's 2-0, Cincinnati's 1-1. What do you think here?
I think Cincinnati wins this game. I mean, and I was a little bit down on Cincinnati coming into the year, but they're still pretty tough. I mean, two trends actually that really stick out to me. The Bengals are 7-0 against the spread in their last 7 home games against teams with winning records. That's pretty good. And the Bengals have won 10 out of their last 11 against the spread, and again against really good teams, which is what the Bengals are. So yeah, I mean, I think Cincinnati wins this game. I'm still not sold Trevor Siemian. It's his first real road game. I think the Cincinnati Bengals win this game, and I'll take them -3.
I am with you. This is actually the other game, or one of the other games that I took as soon as the line came out, and I just jumped on it because I thought, I don't even remember what I got. It might have been, did it open at 3? I don't remember. Yeah, but I took it right away because I think Cincinnati at home in this game. I agree with you. I'm not sold on Siemian. His first true road game. I think it does not go well for him. I think Cincinnati really exposes him a little bit in this one and kind of shows his true colors and shows that he is not Peyton Manning in this game. So I'm taking Cincinnati, and I like the pick quite a bit, especially if you can get it at 3 or less.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to depend a lot on C.J. Anderson, and I think C.J. Anderson's a good running back. Now, on the other side, Cincinnati's going to have to be able to run the ball. I mean, they've been just awful running the football. I mean, Jeremy Hill and Giovanni Bernard haven't done anything offensively, but I do look for them to open it up a little bit and then use the run game. I think Cincinnati's definitely a pick here. Just 53% of the country likes the Bengals, but I'm part of that. I like Cincinnati -3.
Yeah, and daily fantasy-wise, I'm not sure I can play A.J. Green or either side of the ball here. I think this is going to be more of a defensive game. I mean, Denver's defense is going to have to step up if they want to win this game.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm not sure I'll be playing much of any of these guys. Maybe some C.J. Anderson. We'll see because he's going to have to run the ball effectively. So we'll see. Okay, let's go on to Detroit at Green Bay. So in conference, in division, rivalry game. Green Bay is at home, and they're -8. Going back to your previous statement, Green Bay, it kind of makes some sense. I think a lot of people still are thinking back like 5 years ago when they talk about, how good Green Bay is, and their offense is so good. I think it's been a long time since they've been truly really good on offense. And if you really looked at that, you'd be shocked. I love that you made that point a little bit ago because when I think Green Bay, I think, offense. And they're just not that anymore, really. So this game, the world actually likes Detroit. That's a lot of points, 8 points at Green Bay. Anyway, I want to get your thoughts on this before I go much deeper. But what do you think about that?
I'll take Detroit. Green Bay's 31st out of 32 teams in passing. And, you think of the Packers, and you certainly would think they're a passing team. I mean, Eddie Lacy's okay, but Eddie Lacy's not going to completely beat you. I mean, he's a back that's just not going to completely beat you. So they're 31st in passing. They are struggling to pass, and that's against Jacksonville, who now has proven they're not very good. And then Minnesota last week, of course. Minnesota's a good defensive team. But, yeah, 8 points. Do I think the Lions will win this game? Probably not. Do I think they can cover the 8 points and keep it competitive? Absolutely. I will take those plus 8 points all the way, and I'll take the Detroit Lions +8.
I'm with you. I'm looking back at their past, recent meetings. Green Bay wins by 4. Detroit wins by 2. Green Bay wins by 10. Detroit wins by 12. Detroit wins by 30. A lot of them, if you look all the way down, they're 4 to 7 point games, or Detroit's winning the game. So I think getting that 8 points, I like it. I'm not as down on the Lions as some are. I don't think they're terrible. I think their offense is still solid. They have a little work to do on defense. So we'll see. I think I'm with you. I like Detroit plus the points in this one. Should be a fun one though. It's always fun when these two hook up.
Yeah, I mean, in over under 48, I mean, I could see 27, 21, 27, 24. I mean, that's getting the over. I'm not afraid that this game is not going to go over. I do think it'll go over that, but I think Detroit can hold their own and score on Green Bay. So, yeah, I'll take the +8.
Yeah, I think this is maybe a daily fantasy gold mine here as well. Playing some Stafford, playing a little. It could be a game where Aaron Rodgers actually has a little success at home in this one. So I wouldn't be scared to play either of those quarterbacks in this game.
No, I mean, and Detroit's not great defensively. So, yeah, I mean, I think you will see points. Green Bay's not going to completely shut Detroit down. So, yeah, Stafford and Golden Tate, I don't love Eddie Lacy, but I think he could be a guy that could get a touchdown or two in that offense. So, yeah, I think this is a nice DFS game.
All right, let's move on to the team that screwed me the most last weekend. We got Baltimore at Jacksonville. Jacksonville was my pick to click. They were my best bet. They were my best DFS team to play. I stacked them. I loved them. And they absolutely laid an egg at San Diego. They looked brutal. They looked terrible. I didn't expect that from Jacksonville. Now they're +1 at home against a mediocre, maybe good. I don't know. I think they're mediocre Baltimore team.
They are.
And you have Jacksonville +1. Can they bounce back, or are they truly as bad as they looked last week?
Well, if they don't bounce back, they're probably going to be head coachless by Monday because Gus Bradley's on the verge of getting fired there in Jacksonville. And you're right, this is supposed to be their breakout season. Everybody was real high on them. They competed with Green Bay. They thought, okay, a loss against Green Bay, that's not bad. They'll come back and win in San Diego. Well, I don't think they scored, and that's not good. I mean, Jacksonville has way more offense than that. They should be competing better than that. I don't think Baltimore is very good. I know they're 2-0. I truly don't think they're that good. Some of the trends say that they're okay. They're 3-0-1 against teams with losing record in their last 4 against the spread. But I think I like Jacksonville. I'll buy into the hype one more week and take the Jacksonville Jaguars, getting going offensively and winning this game at home.
Yeah, I think I am too, but I've kind of felt like a fool the last couple of weeks on Jacksonville. So, burn me once, okay, burn me twice, now I'm pissed, burn me 3 times, I'm done with you. So I guess I'll give them a third shot this week and see what happens with Jacksonville because I still think they have the firepower. We've seen Bortles be really dynamic, especially getting Robinson and Hearns and some of those guys involved. I don't know what's going on. Maybe San Diego is a better defensive team than we think, than I thought. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Jacksonville just completely laid an egg, and that's honestly though that's a situation. The cross-country travel, it makes a difference in the NFL, especially different times of day. So I don't know. I mean, this is going to be an interesting game, Jacksonville, Baltimore. It's not a really exciting game to me because again, I don't love watching Baltimore play. But I would like to see Jacksonville's offense get going, and if they can score 28 points, I think this game will go over. Baltimore is going to score some points, 28, 21, 28, 24, somewhere around there. I think I like Jacksonville, and I think I'm leaning the over in this one.
All right, let's move on to another 1:00 game. We got Cleveland at Miami. Miami is 10-point favorites at home. How in the world can Miami be 10-point favorites over anybody, you might ask?
Well, Cleveland.
It's Cleveland, and they're bad. And, the recent news here, Corey Coleman broke his hand, right? Is that what I saw today?
Yeah, Corey Coleman broke his hand. They're going with Cody Kessler, their third quarterback in 3 weeks. So he'll probably get hurt. They've signed Charlie Whitehurst. They'll probably start a fourth quarter. They're the worst team in the NFL, and thankful. The Chicago Bears are very thankful that the Cleveland Browns exist because Chicago would be the worst if not. But the Browns, they're not very good. I thought they may show some signs of life in week 1. The Browns led the Ravens last week, so 10 points. I'm either staying away or I'm taking those 10 points because Adam Gase in Miami got to show me a little bit of something. Ryan Tannehill, most of his scores last week were late in the game and kind of garbage time. Dolphins are just 2-5 in their last 7 against the spread after a loss. So a lot of trends are showing that Cleveland can cover. I'll go ahead and take the 10 points, but if I'm doing this one, it's a small bet.
Yeah, I don't think I can take the 10 points. I don't think Cleveland can score. I watched Miami's defense against, was it New England a couple weekends ago? Or no, that was, I don't know, their first week, whoever they played week 1. And, Miami's defense looked great. Was that Seattle? That was Seattle.
Yes.
And
Miami's 0-2, and they've played on the road at Seattle and on the road at who'd they play last week?
New
At
England.
New England. Yeah, they played probably the 2 best teams in all of football, and now they're getting Cleveland. You're probably right. They probably just roll through Cleveland, but it's so enticing to take a team that's really just okay in Miami, not to win by more than 10 points. So I think I'll stick with Cleveland, but probably stay away from this one would be better off.
I'm really worried Cleveland can't score. Kessler, no receiver. I mean, they're down to nothing. They are down to absolutely nothing. I mean, Kessler has no experience coming in against a really good defense. Their first home game, and they, like you said, they've played the 2 best teams, so they're just gonna be pissed. They're not gonna care. They're not gonna have any feelings for Cleveland. They're gonna come out and absolutely destroy them. And you saw in that New England game, they showed some signs of offense in that second half. They really came back and stormed back in that game after Garoppolo got hurt around halftime. I don't know. I'm taking Miami in this game. I think I'm laying the points, and I'm taking the under, and I think it'll be like 30-0. I don't think Cleveland's gonna score. I really don't.
Yeah. Isaiah Crowell's been pretty good, but other than that, you're right. Cleveland doesn't have a whole lot of hope. I guess I just keep looking at that 10 points and think it's awfully enticing. So we'll see. But right now, I'm leaning towards Cleveland, but probably be a no bet for me.
All right, sounds good. All right, we got 2 more 1 o'clock Eastern games. We got Washington at New York Giants. Usually a pretty good game. Another divisional game here. The Giants are 4.5-point favorites at home. Eli Manning, Kirk Cousins. What do you think right off the bat?
I think the Redskins aren't very good, and they won a very bad division last year. I mean, if you remember that division, Philadelphia was rock bottom, Dallas was rock bottom, and the Giants were just okay, which got Tom Coughlin out of town. So I don't think Washington is very good. I don't think Kirk Cousins is really all that good. I like the Giants, and I think I'd like to. The thing that concerns me is the Giants are playing close games. But I like the Giants to win this game. The betting line of, the 3 or 4 points, whatever you have it at, is scary a little bit. But I think the Giants win this game. I'll go ahead and take the Giants -4 is where I'm getting them right now.
Yeah, I think this kind of falls into the exact same boat as last weekend for me with the Giants, where my pick was, I'm not going to lay the points. I'm just going to take them on the money line. And they're winning games. They're finding a way to win games at home. I like their defense, but yeah, for some reason that 4, it seems like they always find a way to make it close for some reason. So I kind of like them on the money line, although I like them a little. I'm more confident this week than I was last week in them. I think they're going to beat Washington pretty easily. They've kind of had their number in New York the last, several years. They haven't really had a close game with them since, 2012 in New York or something like that. And so I like New York to win this. I keep thinking some week Kirk Cousins is going to go off because, we saw last week, last year in DFS, every now and then he'll have one of those weeks where he'll get like 4 touchdowns and 3 of them to Reed and 1 to Garcon, and it's like, oh, when is that coming? It's going to come at some point, but I don't think it's at New York. So I'm pretty confident I like New York in this one as well.
Yeah, the New York defense has been pretty good the first 2 games. It's better. It's much better than it was a year ago. And, the big surprise last week was, New Orleans and New York not scoring that many points because the Giants defense is pretty good. So, yeah, I don't think this is the week for Kirk Cousins. I'm going to take the Giants.
Yeah, that was fun for me to watch because it was one of those – you have to make a choice when you're playing daily fantasy and you have an over-under of a game that's in the 50s like that, and everybody thinks it's going to just be a shootout. They scored 100 points the week before. You got to make a choice. Do I go all in on it, or do I just stay away? And I completely faded it, and it was like a glorious day when it was like 0-0 at halftime. I'm sitting here like, yes, this is the best day of my life. And then Baltimore sucked, and Danny Woodhead got hurt, and my life was over for DFS anyway. So
yeah, it tends to happen. But yeah, I mean, that was the decision you had to make, and I kind of went, some lineups with a bunch, and some lineups I stayed away. So it was, yeah, but I mean, nobody expected New Orleans and the Giants to have 0 points at halftime. That was just ridiculous.
Yeah, but it does show New York's defense. To your point, they're better this year, much better, and they're going to compete. So I like New York in that one.
Yep, me too.
All right, final 1:00 game. We got Oakland at Tennessee. Tennessee's 1.5-point favorites at home in this one. A lot of people like Oakland. Do you?
I think I'll take the Titans. I mean, this is another one of those cross-country trips. Oakland's got to come all the way over here to the Midwest to play in Nashville, and that makes a difference. And Oakland's a young team. They showed last week that they lost at home. Probably a pretty bad loss. I like Oakland's talent, and I bought in a little bit at the beginning of the year about how they could be a better team, but Tennessee's not bad. I think I'll take the Titans to win this game at home.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially if you can get them in like a pick 'em, just basically to win the game. I always lean towards the home teams in those, when you can basically get them at a pick 'em. And I'm not sold on Oakland. I haven't been sold all year on Oakland. I know they were a pick by everybody. They do have some firepower on offense, but yeah, they really took it on the chin last week. Tennessee's playing some close games. I like them as well this week. I think that's a decent pick.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus Mariota, this is the year he breaks out a little bit. I mean, they're 1-1. They're not awful. So I'll take Tennessee.
Okay, let's move across into the late afternoon games. And we got another in-division game. We got San Francisco at Seattle. Seattle comes in 9.5-point favorites at home. San Francisco's defense, they've been a little better than people I think are giving them credit for. Both teams come in 1-1. Seattle's shown a little they can't score. So what's going to happen here? Will you lay the points in Seattle?
I'll take Seattle. I think Russell Wilson will be more healthy than he was last week when they were embarrassed by the Los Angeles Rams. But that's not a surprise. I mean, look back historically. I know I referenced this last week in the podcast. Jeff Fisher's always fared well against Seattle. So San Francisco still not very good. I know they blasted Los Angeles in week 1, but they showed last week that they gave up a ton of points to Carolina. So I do think Seattle gets healthy in this game. Russell Wilson finds his stride a little bit, and when things snowball between these two teams, I think it really snowballs. Blaine Gabbert turns the ball over. I like Seattle to win this game. I think Seattle's defense is a good play in daily fantasy. I like Seattle and their defense this week.
I think I'm going to go opposite of you on this game. I think I'm going to take the 10 points. I much rather, going back to your statement of looking at the 10 points on Cleveland, I'm looking at this one and seeing 10 points, and then I look at Seattle's last 10 games, and they win by 6, 1 by 2, 1 by 2, 1 by 10, 1 by 7, 1 by 1, 1 by 7, 1 by 1. They're not winning. They don't win by a lot. They don't score enough to win by a lot. I know San Francisco's not very good. They did look solid on defense in that first half against Carolina, and then it just imploded. Cam Newton and all of them just went nuts. I think I'm taking the 10 points here and hoping they can keep it a close game and hoping that 12th man or whatever it's called for Seattle doesn't go nuts.
Well, you're putting your faith in Blaine Gabbert, in a hostile environment. I just certainly think Seattle. The total's 40. I could see something like 24-10. 27-10, something like that. I think San Francisco really struggles to score in this game.
Yeah, I can see 24-10 coming down to the last 20 seconds, and Blaine Gabbert throws a meaningless touchdown to make it 24-17 on a cover at the end. That's what I see.
Yeah, well, then you're putting a lot of faith in that play happening. But yeah, I just think Seattle's far and away the better team. I know they've struggled, but then no surprise they got beat by Los Angeles.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on. We got Los Angeles at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is 5-point favorites at home in this one. Los Angeles bounced back last week at home. Tampa Bay, didn't look as good as they did in week 1. What do you think in this one? I mean, your former team, the Rams, I'm going to lean on you in this one.
Yeah, the Rams have only covered 1 out of their last 7 road games. They have not been very good on the road. Buccaneers been pretty decent at home. I mean, this is a situation. No, Doug Martin is a little bit of a situation here. Jeff Fisher keeps swearing that Todd Gurley will get better. I do think this is the game Todd Gurley gets better. I think he's going to be a play for me. I'll take the Rams actually to win this game. And I know I just said they've struggled on the road. I'll take them to win this game. I saw these two teams play last year, and the Rams were a much better overall team. I think the Rams are still a much better overall team. Now they've got to get moving. I mean, they struggled in week 1. They get on the board this week, and I think the Rams win this game in Tampa Bay.
I mean, they've won the last 4 times straight up against them. They've covered the last 5 in a row. All the games are fairly low scoring typically between these two. I guess last year it wasn't as low scoring. I won't go as far to say they win, but I'll take those points. I'll take the Rams plus the points in this one. I think their defense is better than Tampa's. I think you're right. I think Gurley's going to have a game. He's due to just bust out. I'm going to take those points. I actually like that game quite a bit. The Rams plus you can get it up to 6 at some sports books right now. Rams plus the 6 points, which I love.
Yeah. I mean, I think they do compete in this game. I don't think it'll be like week 1 where they just completely get blown out. Todd Gurley, I think, has a big game, and I like the Rams, whatever it is, +5, +6, +4. I like the Rams.
Okay, let's move on. Pittsburgh at Philadelphia. We got a in-region rivalry game here. Philadelphia, looked good against the awful Bears last week. They're +3.5 at home against Pittsburgh, who's looked, pretty good. Both 2-0 teams here. This should be a fun game to watch. What do you think?
Pittsburgh wins, and I think Pittsburgh wins fairly easily. I know it's in Philadelphia, but I think the Steelers are good. I think they're really good. I mean, they've covered every game in their last 5 overall. Now there's been 2 pushes in that, but I like Pittsburgh. Carson Wentz really gets tested here. I mean, keep in mind, Carson Wentz has beat the Browns and the Bears. The Browns and the Bears. Remember, those are the 2 worst teams we're talking about in the National Football League. I think Pittsburgh takes big-time advantage of Carson Wentz. He's going to be a good quarterback, but he's going to have a tough time against Pittsburgh. I like the Steelers. If I could get them at, whatever I get them at, 3 or 4, either one would be fine. I like the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Roethlisberger is one of those guys. It's like he just never ages. He's always there. He's always good. He's always solid. And it seems like he gets better with time. And now he has D'Angelo Williams, who's, he's a veteran running back, but he looks youthful. He looks like one of the best backs in the league. I think Pittsburgh's as good as I've seen them in a while. They're really loaded at wide receiver. I know they have a bunch hurt, but they have like 3 or 4 of these young kids that are stepping in and look really good. They got a couple tight ends that look good. Their defense is solid. One thing I found a little shocking is, you think Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, you think they're so close in vicinity, they'd play all the time. They've only played 4 times in the last 16 years. That really shocked me, unless that stat is incorrect.
No, it's probably not. I mean, this is an AFC, NFC. I mean, they're not same division, and the NFL controls the schedule. So, yeah, it probably is right. And, big rivalry game. I think you're right. Probably only 4 times in 16 years.
Yeah, and that really shocked me when I saw that. I mean, and so I think Pittsburgh is going to come with a little chip on their shoulder, and I think they're going to really show Wentz what's up this week. Like you said, I mean, he's beaten 2 bad teams. This is the week he gets exposed.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I like Pittsburgh quite a bit in this one.
Okay, San Diego at Indianapolis. Indianapolis 2.5-point favorites at home. San Diego's had 2 really bad breaks. I mean, they're 1-1, but they've had 2 really bad breaks, losing Allen and now losing Woodhead for the year. I mean, that's 2 huge pieces to the puzzle for San Diego. I don't know how much more of that they can take and keep functioning. This could be the week Indianapolis breaks out. They're 0-2. They're at home against the banged-up San Diego. I tend to lean, without talking much about it, I tend to like Indianapolis minus the 2.5 points in this one quite a bit.
Yeah, I am begging and I am pleading for Indianapolis to finally win a game because they were one of my picks to get to the AFC Championship and possibly get to the Super Bowl. And gosh, they look terrible. They make me look like such an idiot. Yeah, Indianapolis has got to come. If they don't win here, their season's. If you start 0-3, your season's almost over in the NFL. I mean, you're almost a quarter away through. You're 0-3. You could be 3 games back in the division. I do think Indianapolis comes out and blows out San Diego. Too many injuries for the Chargers. A cross-country flight for San Diego. I like the Colts. I like them a lot in this game. I think they could get upwards of 30 points in this game. Could be 30-20, somewhere around there. I like the Colts.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. That's about all I'm going to say. Indianapolis, I mean, the one thing I get concerned about is they're kind of like the Packers to me, where I don't know if I'm thinking of years past where they're so good or they're really not playing up to what I would consider their potential. I keep thinking Andrew Luck is really good, and I mean, they just keep losing or winning games by like 1 or 2 points if they do win. And I don't know. I think one of these weeks we're going to see them bust out. I'd like to see T.Y. Hilton get involved a lot more. I don't think they're utilizing him nearly enough. And I think a lot of it maybe boils down to their running game just isn't good enough. So they really can focus in on that pass game defensively on them. And so maybe that's kind of where that lies with Indianapolis.
Well, how old is Frank Gore now? Like 60? I mean,
yeah.
They're relying on Frank Gore at running back. They're not getting any running yards. Their running's terrible. Their offensive line is not very good. But I still think they beat San Diego and beat them fairly easily this week.
Yeah, that's such a bad combination. No running game and a bad line.
Yep.
That's Andrew Luck's worst nightmare.
Yeah, and he's still good. He's having a good start to the season. But there's not much he can do. But I do think he comes away with a win. San Diego, too many injuries.
Agreed. All right, last afternoon game, we got the Jets at Kansas City. Kansas City's -3 at home in a pretty hostile environment. Where are you leaning on this one?
Yeah, man. Kansas City hasn't shown me much yet. I mean, they came from behind to beat San Diego and kind of a fluky win there, and then they went and didn't do anything in Houston. So, yeah. I'm telling you, if I can get this at 3.5 or 4 points, I think I'm going to go with the Jets to keep this game close. I mean, the Jets showed that they can score a little bit last week. I mean, I think the Jets' defense is better than they showed last week. This could be a pretty low-scoring game. I'm looking at 2017, 21-17, somewhere around there. So, if I can get this at +3.5, +4 points, I think I'm going with the Jets.
Yeah, it's a tempting one to take those points just because KC's offense isn't very good. But I do think they're pretty good at home. Overall, that atmosphere is pretty tough. The Jets aren't a bad team. This one, I'm really struggling with this game personally. It may be a stay away for me in the late afternoon because I don't know. I don't have a real good prediction for you on this game right now. I think I'll just lean on you. If you like the Jets, maybe I'll tail you on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see more out of both teams, and especially Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City a lot of people expecting to win that AFC West. I haven't seen much out of them and Alex Smith yet.
Feels like an under game to me. Maybe that'll be an under.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right, let's move on to Sunday Night Football. We got Chicago Bears at Dallas Cowboys. Bears looked pathetic last week, just pathetic at home, losing to the Eagles on Monday Night Football. How embarrassing. Dallas, they're 1-1, come in as 7.5-point favorites. No Cutler in this game, so the Bears are going to have to go to a backup quarterback, which may be a good thing. I don't know. What did you see out of the Bears? I mean, do you see any way they can compete in this game?
Probably not. Bears aren't very good at all. And, actually the funny thing is here, people in Central Illinois are like excited that Jay Cutler's out of this game, but they don't have a backup. I mean, that's one thing the Bears haven't done. Why haven't they went and got a Dak Prescott or a Carson Wentz or a Jared Goff, somebody to at least excite the fan base? If you're going to rebuild, you got to have a quarterback, and they don't. McCown or whoever, Hoyer is a quarterback now. He's not very good. Bears aren't very good. No, they're not very good. Now, Dallas on the other side, I don't know. They've been playing close games. I do think this is the week Dallas gets going a little bit offensively. I'll take the Cowboys +7 or 7.5, whatever it is, just because I think the Bears are terrible.
You mean minus the points, I think, but
yeah.
I don't know. This is another tough one. It's Sunday Night Football. I think I'm taking the Bears plus the 7 points in this. Just looking at recent trends, I know Chicago's not good, but I don't think Dallas is that good either. I mean, you look back, they've only won 2 out of their last 10 games dating back to last year, and I mean that's losses to Buffalo and Washington and L.A. and Houston. I mean Giants. I think people may think they're better than they are. Dak Prescott at home, I mean, I haven't really been sold on him yet. He hasn't really got going too much. I mean, I know they beat Washington last week. I think I'm going to take the points here very hesitantly because, yeah, the Bears just looked awful. They're going to have to look better than last week, aren't they?
I don't know how. I mean, I honestly don't know how. I mean, at least with Cutler not in there, he's not going to have the sloppy turnovers. I mean, they're going to have to rely on running the ball. Maybe they can cover that spread because they're going to run the ball. Dallas runs the ball a lot. So, I could see a cover, keeping it a close game because of all the running. But, gosh, the Bears aren't very good.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be taking the underdog in this one. And But one of my favorite DFS plays of the weekend, the early look is Ezekiel Elliott. I love him at running back against this Bears defense. And like you said, I think Dallas is going to run the ball a lot. He's pretty dynamic, get the ball in his hands. He's going to score a couple touchdowns in this game, I think, against the Bears.
Yeah, here's the thing to look out, though. He fumbled twice last week. Alfred Morris might start getting a few more carries there, so I'd be a little careful playing him too much. But, yeah, I mean, I certainly like the run game for Dallas in there. I just think Alfred Morris may have an opportunity to get a few more carries this week.
Okay, let's move on to the Monday Night Football game. Last game of the week, we got Atlanta at New Orleans. New Orleans is -3. Over-under is 53.5, largest one of the weekend. Could be a shootout. Everybody thinks New Orleans is a shootout, but we saw what they did last week. Which New Orleans are we going to see?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those true, you could have the Monday night hammer, but I think a lot of people are going to have the Monday night hammer. I mean, you're going to play Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, Brandon Cooks, Drew Brees. I think all those guys are decent plays, or you do what you did last week and you just completely fade them and wish for the best. But I do think New Orleans wins this game. It's a rivalry game. It's a divisional game. New Orleans can't start 0-3. There's a theme in some of my picks here. Some of these teams I think are a little bit better than their record, can't start 0-3. I think I'll take New Orleans to win this game.
Yeah, I like New Orleans as well. At home, backs against the wall. Basically, their season's up against the wall. I think Atlanta's getting a little old. I don't, Matt Ryan a little old there. I know Drew Brees is similar in age. They're probably similar. I don't know what they are. But I'd like New Orleans here. And I don't think I can get lucky fading this game twice in a row. I don't think I don't think it'll be another low-scoring game. I'm pretty sure Drew Brees is going to put up some points in this one. But, yeah, I like New Orleans to win this.
Well, yeah, in the dome, he's certainly much better, and and I think Atlanta it plays in a dome too, so you're going to see a lot of offense in this game. I think you should see a pretty fun game, but I do think it comes down to New Orleans must win, and they will win this game.
Yeah, that'll make some of those DFS games kind of fun, coming down to Monday night and watching some of that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times the millionaire maker on DraftKings won't they don't play the Monday night game, which is okay. You can play some with the Monday night and then, have some that don't have the Monday night. It's kind of fun to do it that way. That way you're not all relying on that Monday night hammer or, sweating out some guys that have those big guys. So, yeah, it'd be fun, but there's going to be a lot of points in that game.
Okay, well, we went a little longer than I thought we would, but hey, there's a lot of NFL to talk about here.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's fun to get going, and looking forward to week 3 already.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you all for listening. We'll wrap this thing up. Just a couple quick comments. If you're going to play daily fantasy, FanPix is giving a free $25 voucher just for signing up. No obligation. We can get you that. Head out to knupsports.com, and you can click the link there to get that free $25 voucher. It's a way to start and try to play. Other than that, should be a great week, and I wish you guys the best of luck in your daily fantasy and in your betting. Rodney, thanks for joining, and good luck this week.
Yeah, good luck to you as well, and don't forget we got college football coming out tomorrow for picking all the games, picking a few games there as well.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, have a great night, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Knup Sports Show. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider subscribing to our iTunes channel today. Plus, visit us at knupsports.com for more picks, previews, strategy, and news. That's knupsports.com.